Welcome back to another exciting episode of Haunt Life Tonight. It's Season 2, Episode 3. I'm Kelly Michael, and right next to me, that's Todd
Marino.
Jen Marino.
I'm John. Nice to meet you.
Oh, man. We've got an exciting episode for you tonight. Brandy Crawford, Breezy B from 13th Ward and Field of Streams will be joining us. We've known her a long time, friend of the family, and super awesome haunter that's been doing this a long time with some insights on acting and making characters and the whole deal. It's a pretty exciting show.
Yeah, super great interview. Totally excited to talk with her. Very, very cool stuff. Hey, let's get to some news, brother.
Breaking news. And we're back!
Yeah, some news.
We got some breaking news for you. Myself, Todd, and a few other key members of the Reapers family have been doing this super awesome project up in the Poconos. Would you like to tell them more about that, Todd?
I just think it was a great opportunity that our Reapers family got to go haunt a medieval castle by haunting. Actually, we're just making really cool stuff there for them. We're actually not making it scary, but we're doing a really neat scavenger hunt. And they gave us 8 different areas in this Airbnb medieval castle that there's almost 30 rooms, I think, or something like that, or like
it's ginormous.
Yeah. You can sleep like over 60 people in it. It's amazing. It's got a basketball court and everything. And they've just welcomed us with open arms and have let us put our spin from Reaper's Revenge on their facility. And they just love what we're doing and all kinds of new products and different projects they want us to do in the future. So shout out to the Hilltop Castle and the Hilltop Mansion. Whole bunch of Airbnbs over there in Beach Lake. Really, really cool stuff going on there. And let me change my face real quick because we got to talk about less than a month. We're going to be back up at Reaper's Revenge full time, getting the season going. We've been on the mountain already, assessing all the winter woes and all that good stuff. Purchasing has been done for the year pretty much, even though, I will be going to Trans World and representing Reapers with whoever else wants to go with me. But it's going to be a weird year for our trade show. We're not sure. We're coming out of COVID, and we're hoping that everybody's doing well, and the trade show will be a success. But still nervous to see how things transpire until the vaccine hits everybody. So we're planning, and we're trying to build some exciting stuff. Right from the start of the hayride, you're going to be seeing the changes.
Yep. Super secret, awesome, serious changes to the hayride. In all the areas you'd think you'd need it. We're not telling you anything else, but it's been planned. Like you said, we've been having meetings all winter long. We've actually talked to each other as a group of owners and managers more than we ever have in a planning year. So this one's gonna be killer.
Yep. So in the words of Jen Marino, let's get to that interview.
Interview time.
Is that the best you've got?
It is the best I got.
And we're back. Hey, everybody, it's Kelly, and I'm here with Todd Fetishin. As always, it's interview time. We have a very special guest tonight, so grab the pickles and don't forget the mayo. It's Brandy Breezy B. Crawford from Field of Screams and 13th Ward Effects. Hey, there they are.
Yeah.
Bread and butter. Hello. And dill.
That's right.
But not the mayo.
We got mayo.
That's great to see you, hon. How you doing?
I'm doing. It's the year of COVID-19, and my full-time job is a bit of a nightmare. But thankfully, Haunt is letting me take out some stress.
Very cool. Well, I mean, we came and saw you guys this year. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of 13th Ward since the mass started. The guys just been great. I think right on the cutting edge of what's happening. Very cool stuff. But Field of Screams this year, great job. I thought the hayride was really cool this year. I just love some of the changes that I've seen from the last time. Last time I think we were there, Kelly, was legendary year, right?
For Hauntor, yeah.
Yeah, for us, we came. We had the blessing of being the opening act before the big boys on the weekend, and we got to see the show. And I love the changes from the hayride from that year. So very cool. But Kelly, jump in. I've said enough.
It's all good. We're gonna start right off the bat and go with the questions. How did you get started in the haunt industry?
That's a hard question to answer because you don't tell a haunter what you're afraid of. However, when I was a kid, I was scared of anything. You said the word Halloween and I cried. So it just kind of turned into like, I need to beat my fear, so I will become my fear. And so I did some local haunts and stuff that aren't around anymore back in Jersey. And then as soon as I was old enough to go to Terror Behind the Walls at Eastern State Penitentiary, that's where I headed. When they said that you were auditioning, I didn't know what that meant because I had never done that before. So I showed up in my dress clothes thinking I was interviewing for a job. And so in all of my glory of dress clothes, I was crawling on the floor and drooling my way to Amy Holloman. And the history was made from there. I met a bunch of guys from up in New England after that, and they showed me how big this industry was. And then on out, I became a manager at a haunt in New Jersey, and I really got into character design, and then I met you guys. Went from there. I'm going on double-digit years.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. It's nice to hear the history behind that. I mean, I was just talking with some people about Terror last night. We are having our board call for HAA, and Terror came up, and I mean, we're obviously friends with Brett, and and part of the 13 Haunts. So it's nice to hear where your start came from.
Yeah, I've actually I've worked for Terror Behind the Walls, Night of Terror. I was there for 9 years, and I ran a lot of things there for Ron for probably 7 of those 9 years. And then I went to Valley of Fear for a season with Tim McCall, and now I'm at Field of Screams. So I'm made my way around the
like you are like a 13th Haunt veteran. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, shout out to the 13 Haunts.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see at Reapers next year. We can get real.
I've been trying.
I've been telling Kelly for years now that I want to at least come up for one night. It's a bit of a hike to drive. Shady B tried to get me to come up there full time. That's when I went out with you guys at Transworld. But yeah.
We'll get you out there one of these nights. Don't you worry.
Absolutely.
Well, if Shady B thought it was a good idea, then I second that vote.
Speaking of character development, it's a good segue into my next question. You do costuming, obviously, and you have a bunch of original characters. Jen, my wife, had asked to tell us a little bit about your little wheelie character and how that came about.
So a friend of mine, Nikki, and I worked for Terror Behind the Walls, and we had this we were both entertainment actors, line entertainment actors. And we were like, we need something cool and different. And we watched Oz that night with the Wheelers. And she was like, wouldn't that be cool? And I played hockey most of my life, so I was used to being on rollerblades and ice skates and things. And I said, we could totally do that. My dad's a machinist. He worked for a pharmaceutical company, so he had access to the machines to help me out. And he made the arms. So that the year that I debuted that at Midwest Hunters Convention, that was work in progress for about 4 years at that point, I think 3 or 4 years. The problem is I've never worked at a haunt where I can do it because the ground. So I won that year at Midwest Hunters Convention, which is really funny. That was the first year that they like changed the design of the show and of the way that the contest worked. It was the last year that you were picked to be in it, but they changed the setup, and I was in that costume for like 7 hours on my hands and knees. And so needless to say, it was really, really hard for me to stand up by the end of the night. I did fall at one point, did not drop my beer. So can we pause for a second? My kid is screaming at the top of his lungs.
We can.
Sure,
Okay.
We'll pause.
I'll be right back.
All right. So Kelly, we're not going to pause.
No, we're not.
We're going to keep going. And we're going to talk about this right now. One, this is the first time in Haunt Life Tonight that we've ever had a request for a pause.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this?
I mean, the kids are involved, so I completely understand.
Excellent. And on a technical note, your microphone's still really loud. Could you turn it down a little bit?
I'm going to sit further back. Is that it?
We're going to try this. We'll see. We'll see.
Sorry if I'm too loud, everybody.
Let's use our indoor voices.
All right.
You know, the other thing that stinks is I didn't put my snap camera on, and I wanted to do funny faces during our interview, and I forgot to put my snap camera on, but thank God I did it for all the other parts.
All right. How's that? Is that any better?
It is. You're just way louder than us. Okay, we can press record again.
Interesting.
Okay, record.
Yeah.
Okay, we're recording.
So I won that year, and I won at a local like horror convention. What is it called? Oh my goodness, it's in Monster Mania. That's it. I won for that character there too. And then I did it my second year at Transworld pregnant. And then I haven't fit in the costume since.
Oh my God. Well, I need to see a picture of this costume.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the silicone mask, it's all behind the wall. The silicone mask that I wore for that costume, that's a 13th Ward mask. That was my first mask in the 13th Ward line that I did. I sculpted that myself and molded it and did the whole process, obviously with Andrew and Jeremy's help. And then the original costume that I wore at Midwest, I had about 35 pounds of rusted chain draped on me.
Wow.
I did that one more time with chains, and then I was pregnant, so I didn't want to push it.
Right. Yeah. Now, how did you, if you don't mind me jumping in, Kelly, I know you had a bunch of questions, but I don't really care. I want to ask some. How did you get started with 13th Ward with Jeremy and them?
I am friends with a bunch of clowns nearby that are called Circus Rejects. And then I was also friends with Bonjo and Crunk from Field of Screams. And the four of them, four clowns, all knew Jeremy and Andrew, obviously. So we did like a clown bar crawl on South Street one year for one of the Circus Rejects' birthdays, and they had come. So I started talking with them and told them I had a ton of ideas I was doing on my own at my parents' house and ruining my parents' spare bedroom carpet. And and Jeremy's like, well, why don't you come do that stuff with us? And then the year I actually went to Transworld with Shady Bee and Reapers, I saw those guys again the night we were outside the Wren Hotel. And I stood there talking to them till probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. And then that next weekend I drove up to 13th Ward and I started working with them.
Awesome.
Right. Now, are they both still doing stuff? I can't remember if I saw Jeremy at Field, but I can't remember. And this was years ago. We didn't actually go through makeup and all costuming last time when we were there. The guys were just nice enough to show us your new silo. That is so cool. We were up on top of that thing, and we had a lot going on that night because we went to Shocktoberfest as well that night. So
You're privileged because nobody else gets to go up there.
I'm pretty sure that they just wanted to lock us up, and there was some cattle prodding involved, and they were trying to get all the secrets out of us.
Sounds very familiar for living around there. No, it's just
No, so Jeremy and they're still doing stuff there
yeah. Well, at Field or at 13th Ward?
at Field.
Oh, Andrew's still there. He's the manager of the Den, and he does some other miscellaneous things for them. And Jeremy left about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But 13th Ward's going great, so I mean, I'm happy for them. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you spread yourself too thin, which Kelly and I were just talking about before we started this interview. How do you feel after yesterday?
Yeah.
You know, but it's great to hear. I mean, I think the world of those guys. I remember back to the first time I saw their work. Where was that at? What was the name of the show there? And Kelly, what was the show in down in Pennsylvania?
Where are we talking about?
National Hunt Convention, was it?
Was Valley Forge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think
the
it was
National
national.
Hunt
Wasn't that the first one?
Yeah, Valley Forge.
I think that's where I saw their stuff. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been where Grand and Carnage would have spawned from there.
Yeah,
that
I
was
mean,
the
I
first
think
time I saw those guys.
Yeah, I think that was the first place I saw them. Don't hold me to it, but for some reason, I think, you know, I mean, that was the first time I saw another Nevermore stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I kind of started, you know, when that was going on, that was just before, I haven't gone to Trans World for 10 years now, but I think it was just like, that was the beginning, like the year before I'd gone to National. And then I was like, I saw it for 1 year, and then I went to Trans World the next year, but.
Right.
So-
Yeah. Jeremy has gone through some pretty big life changes recently over the last several years. So during those times, things got a little sketchy for 13th Ward, obviously, because he had to put his energy towards other things. And then obviously I hopped on. My husband helped sell with them too. He's good friends with them. That's actually, I know him, or how I met him, I should say. So they definitely have taken breaks here and there, and that's actually, we're just kind of coming out of another one over the last like year or two. Things really slowed down and they stopped doing stuff because life changes were happening. But we're planning on hitting Trans World next year, 2022. Got some new stuff coming out, doing a lot like glow in the dark things and some custom paint jobs, and I have a custom order I'm working on right now for somebody at Field, and so yeah, it'll be cool.
Awesome.
That's good to hear. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that they're doing stuff, and please tell them we said hello. You know, I just think the world of their work. I always have, and you know, it's nice to hear that as we have our ups and downs in the industry. It's just nice to see everybody trudging along.
Sure.
I wish them both the best.
Down but not out is a good thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all take a little bit of time off here or there, or at
Yep.
least I heard people have done that. For some reason, nobody will let me do it.
This
No.
is retirement for me. I retired the legendary haunt tour that night. I said, I'm done. I'm hanging it up. I've had enough of a lot of the negative stuff in the industry. And the next year I was back out again. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being said, let's get back to you a little bit. The characters that you've done quite a few characters for yourself.
yeah, that's my girl back there.
Yeah.
That's
So
Dolly.
I can't stop looking at her.
What have been some of your favorites over the years?
So this is one of them. I have her set up for St. Patrick's Day for this weekend, but this is the new paint edition of her. But she is my oldest and one of my first originals. I worked with her at one of the like local little home haunt type deals, and with an old mask that I had created out of latex. Ironically enough, or maybe not ironically at all, I use that word wrong all the time. I met my husband wearing it, so he didn't even know what my face was when we started talking.
Nice.
That's cool.
So-
What's her name, by the way?
Dolly, I call her Dolly. But Breezy has taken over my entire life. So a lot of people are like, "Hey, Breezy," I'm like, "Yeah, hi." But I play her character as Dolly. She's a little girl that wanted to play with all the little girls in town. Nobody wanted to play with her. They noticed that they played a lot with dolls. She come from a weird family, so she sewed a doll face onto her face and doesn't understand why nobody wants to play with her still.
I don't really get
Love
it.
Love the backstory.
I think she looks like a sweetheart. Dolly, we got you. Very cool.
And then I have Breezy, which is a black and white clown that I did that actually started off as I called her Starlet. She had colored Chinese throwing stars, or Japanese, throwing stars stuck out of her skin. I did that at MHC one year. And then the next year I got lazy and didn't want to glue all these stars all over me. So then I just did my black and white clown. And then when I was working at Valley of Fear, the Haunt Review crew come through and they heard one of my friends call me Breezy and they thought that was her name. So they heard it talking about Breezy, and the next night I'm like, why are all of these kids calling me by my nickname? This is really weird. And well, she's stuck. But she's actually my least favorite character. One, because I hate painting my entire body for the most part. Two, clowns to me are a simple scare. No offense. My husband tells me all the time that he hates clowns, and I'm like, thanks.
So this goes back to what you said before about how you got started in the industry. I will say this: when I was a kid, I was terrified of Tim Curry as it, and ironically, here we are. But I've played a doctor. I've been the guy that pulled up. I've basically done everything possible. Reavers, as far as being in any of those characters. The clown stuck. It works for me for now. But I'd go back to being a doctor in Sector anytime. I've said that in the last couple of years that it's a complete different animal, and I enjoy doing that too. It's and it started out like wacky doctor, but it ended up being like quiet-spoken, sadistic doctor, which was even more of a release for me, I'd say. Because, yeah, but
I don't really play Breezy as a clown. I just look like one that's all black and white.
Yep.
But I'm more just like an angry person that's painted funny. When I play her, I pick at people and make funny faces, and I make my weird noises, but I don't. And then, if somebody's like, "Ew, I hate clowns," and I'm like, "Am I funny?" I just say,
Can I hear one of your word noises?
Oh God, my son's gonna come down here as soon as I do this. I'm gonna back up because it's loud.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
If you listen to Haunt Review Crew's videos at the end, every now and then they play it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's me."
That's awesome.
Nice.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
And then I have Toby, the Wheeler.
Yep.
And then I did some other miscellaneous things. I've done a remake of Reagan at one point at Valley. I was throwing up cream of wheat everywhere. Green cream of wheat everywhere. Mind you, nasty when it's cold.
Yeah.
Especially after it's been in your mouth and back in a couple of times.
All the things we do to sell it.
Yeah, note to self.
It was the first time I ever made somebody throw up. It was awesome.
Yeah. So we're talking about acting and character development and everything. I know from managing our attractions, no matter which one it might be, or working with our actors, in the season when we're open, I don't get to fully get in a spot and act as much as I'd like. So I ask this of everybody on the show: do you act as much as you'd like while we're open? Yes.
So when I first started, the season was a couple of weekends. And as you know very well, our seasons are now almost 3 months long. So my last season that I did, for the most part, the full season, I did all of the Fridays and Saturdays for the almost 3 months, was when my son was 2 and he's 4. He'll be 5 this year. So that was the last year I did all that. My mom drove up every weekend to watch the kids, and I went out, and that was the year that we ended with Legendary. And
Yep.
I said to Brandon, my husband, I said, I can't do this anymore. And so that year after that, I did 2 nights, and then I was like, this isn't enough. So then last year I did every Saturday that I could. I obviously skipped the weekend of our wedding, and I thought that was sufficient. when I was managing and I didn't have kids and a full-time job, well, I had a full-time job, but not to the level and capacity I do now. It was fine. Like, I was completely like, I need more. Especially when I was managing down at Night of Terror. I still dressed up, but I couldn't just stop and act a lot. Like, I had to deal with all the problems and.
Yep.
But currently, yes, I 100% work as much. I do all the special events. Like, I'll be at the St. Patty's Day event this Saturday, and I did Valentine's Day and Christmas, and I'll do Halfway to Halloween May 1st. So I like those shows more than the season, honestly.
Right. Well, I think there's a lot less pressure at that time too, you know. It's just like, and it's so unique, out of place. I mean, Halloween time, people expect so much of what we do. When they see it at Halfway to Halloween or St. Patrick's Day or any of those things, it's like, oh my God, you know, and it just, you know, it's fun and it's different.
Yeah,
You know?
it gives you new lines and new concepts and a way to look at your characters differently if you do the consistent ones. And yeah, I enjoy them.
Yeah, I mean, I've only acted at Reapers a few times, but it was really the year before I came to Reapers at one of my other haunts, which I acted every night. And Paul told me, he said, you know, if you really want to go to the next level of what you're doing, you need to take what you're doing as an actor and start training other people to be that person. And that really stuck with me. It resonated. And I think that's what makes us successful at Reapers, you know, and I was just learning from Reapers at that point. I think that was Reapers year 4. So it was almost 10 years ago when I first started coming around there. And I think I started in year 5 as full-time. But it was crazy, you know, just to, you know, take myself out of that role. And I mean, I always thought I had to be that person. And then to really start looking at everybody else and trying to educate them on what they could do different and working with sounds, you know, and going around and like trying to, you know, look at somebody that I never made that sound before, but I got to be like, you know, do something weird. And I got to show them that I still can be that guy. But let me help you be great. I don't know. It was weird. And here we are years later. So maybe he was right.
Important to me when I was at Night of Terror was to really make sure, like, that's Ron really wanted the managers to be in plain clothes so they could handle the problems when they came up. And I really pushed maybe not to his happiness to stay in character, because to me it felt, as an actor myself, always having someone telling me, like, that's something I really admire. And I think I learned that from Amy Holloman from when she was at Terror Behind the Walls when I was there. She never came up to somebody and said, you need to do this, unless she did it too.
Yep.
And she always showed you. And I thought that was important, because I'm not going to tell a kid to hang upside down from a bar all night long unless I'm planning on doing it too, or I can do it.
You're absolutely right. That couldn't be the best piece of advice you could give every haunter, is lead by example. Do not ask somebody, whether it's during a build day, it's any kind of scenic design work, don't ask somebody to do something that you would never do. I mean, if it's the worst job, show them that you're willing to do it all day, and then maybe they'll respect you and they'll do it for you the next day when you really don't want to do it anymore.
Except like the stuff that's like super height. Like if we have to put some scaffolding and a ladder on top of the scaffolding to fix something, they're pretty much sending me up there.
We don't send you to any high places.
I'm always that guy. They're like, yep, get up there.
It's funny, my height fear goes away when I'm in a character. Like, I'm like, oh, and then it takes me, like, I'm in the middle of like a downtime where there's no customers. I'm like, wow, this is really high.
Well, those are the questions I got. This is the time of the show where you can promote the heck out of everything you're doing.
Yeah, please promote.
My word. I am doing as much as I can. I'm obviously a mommy. I'm a full-time teacher. So when I can, I am obviously running with 13th Ward. Even when they both make me really angry and don't answer my text messages, I told them I was going to say that on your national YouTube video.
This is actually being aired on HBO tonight.
Right now.
I will, I will go down with them if I need to, because they're my friends, and those guys have helped me come a long way too. But 13th Ward, as I said, we're hoping to be back Transworld 2022. We've got a lot of really cool stuff. We're working on making like the horns and things lighter, using like just some different technology. I'm not gonna give that away because Jeremy might kill me. But we're doing a lot of custom stuff, like I said. Right now, our ship time is about 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, pending UPS not being terrible. So that'll be exciting. So that's some stuff I'm doing. And then I'm still running with Field of Screams. I am insane because I do that voluntarily. But we, as you know, our whole staff is volunteer, and it's the greatest line ever when somebody's like, how much do you get paid? And I'm like, I'm this nuts for free. As I'm like crawling through the mud in the place where they just spit and dragging my head. Yeah, but either way, so that's where I'm at. We're open this Saturday for St. Patrick's Day festivities. The leprechauns are taking over. And then May 1st, I keep thinking it's May 3rd, but I'm pretty sure it's May 1st, is our Halfway to Halloween show. So we'll be out, and then we're taking a break until the season starts September 10th. And every year that sounds a lot earlier, but it's not. It's the same time.
Yep.
So we'll run September 10th. These 2 shows that are coming up, this show is just the Asylum and the Den. The next show will be Nocturnal Asylum and Den. And then the season, obviously, we'll have the Hayride open with them.
Awesome.
And I was supposed to tell you that there's a lot of huge legendary changes coming to the Den and the Asylum.
Awesome.
And I was told to swear to secrecy that I wouldn't share what I know.
Well, that's okay. We like surprises.
I'm gonna be texting Gene and Jim right now to find out what those huge legendary changes are.
Oh, they're awesome. I obviously am friends with those guys, and so from being there all in the off season, I'm having the opportunity to see those changes as they occur, or just hearing about them, and they're really awesome. And I'm glad that the Den is being done the way that they're talking, because it's just going to be awesome. And those guys are awesome. They got a full team that runs all year round, and that's why they do what they do the way that they do it. And it's always been an awesome show, even before I was there. So.
It's absolutely beautiful. If Todd, if you do talk to them, or Brandy, either or, I still want to buy the plexiglass box from the basement. I know you don't use it anymore, right?
The one that they run into?
Yeah.
I know it's. Can I be honest with you? I don't like the changes on the Hayride. No idea. I heard about them. Never saw them. I don't leave. I work the midway. Like, I work in the entertainment area.
Yeah.
I work in the line, so I'm in the Hayride line all the time. But the only attraction that I ever really go into is the Den, because it's the only one I know, because that's the one that my husband ran. So I get nervous if I walk into the other ones, because I know where I'm going.
Well, I'll tell you, your midway. The midway was incredible, and like I said, Gene and Jim were so kind to us. I mean, Jim came up behind me when I was on the Hayride, and all of a sudden somebody bear hugged me from behind, and I was like, "What the?" And he's trying to take me out. And then Gene had us upstairs. I mean, the whole midway and the infrastructure there is awe-inspiring, amazing. I walked away like wanting to order so many things, mainly about 30 million cameras, so I could see every inch of the place like they do. Very impressive.
That's creepy, the camera thing. Ron has
no, I'm telling you, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's awkward when you're wearing a radio, though, at one of them, and somebody's like, "Bless you," and you're like, oh.
Right.
That would freak me out, man.
Well, on that note, I'm sure they're watching us, so we'll leave it at that. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Interview.
Thanks for asking me.
Great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was awesome.
Okay. Tell everybody we said hello. We'll see you soon.
I will. I'll pass it on. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yeah. we're back. What a hell of a show we had tonight, man.
That was terrific, I'm telling you.
I see you got a little Clutch Exotic going on over there.
Yeah, I do what tigers do.
Oh, man. Hey, if you like the show, we'll see you next month. But do us a favor, like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, jam that subscribe button down here. We're only about 40 away from hitting 1,000 on our YouTube subscribe.
Yeah.
We need that, please. Help
That means
us
you like
go
us.
legit. If anybody knows Carol Baskins, have her subscribe.
Oh.
I can't believe I just went there with Carol.
Yeah, you did. And we'll see you next time on Hot Life Tonight.
See ya.
You still here? It's over. Go home. Go. And get off my lawn.